The first step in our performance prep is to identify what head to use, and that's why it's important to have sometimes a pretty lengthy conversation or conversations so we can understand your engine combination. You notice on our website we don't sell any heads on the website without talking to us. I think that's sort of malpractice. We need to understand your combination and what your budget is and so on and so forth before we can recommend a cylinder head and a series of modifications. So once we're at that particular point, we pressure test the cylinder heads. Whether you send heads into us, even if they're brand new, or we buy heads from whatever manufacturers, we pressure test brand new heads. We have some videos on our website that we'll link to as to why we do it and how we do it. But every head gets pressure tested at least twice, for once before we even work on it, and then after we're done working on it. The reason we do it is because some of the new heads leak right out of the box. Not very many of them, maybe single digits, maybe 5, 6, 7%. But you don't want to be that 5, 6, 7% that gets a cylinder head that leaks. That kind of sucks when that happens when you're putting a new motor together. So after we're done selecting the cylinder head and pressure testing it, we pre-sort them. Now, pre-sorting, what is that? Well, the cylinder heads are somewhat haphazardly machined from the factory. These are production pieces, and they're not very accurately machined, especially some of the cylinder heads, especially the stuff coming from Engine Quest, the 350i, the 350Cs. Valve guides are all over the place, seat machining is all over the place. And if you're running a 194 valve in some of those cylinder heads, you're not going to have very good performance if you choose the incorrect casting. So with those castings, we sort them 3 different ways. If you have to run a 194, we sort them 194 with seats, 194 without seats. That's where the valve guide and the valve job positioning is correct. And then the ones that are really ugly, we just use those for 202s. And also some of the things that we wind up finding when we go to the extent of inspecting the heads and pressure testing is, some of the cylinder heads will come through with some flaws that sometimes you just won't notice until you get further down the road into the preparation work on the cylinder head. This particular head has some welding right around the cooling holes. Now, sometimes castings are repaired. Sometimes there's a weld on a corner or on an intake flange and so on. This particular head cannot be used because the welding wasn't done very well, and there's some actual pinholes that's going to be right around the firing ring. So you don't want to spend your hard-earned money getting a cylinder head and not having it be the correct head and having some flaws in it as far as the machining is concerned. But the main reason that we do the pre-sorting is to make sure that you get the best cylinder head, the best casting for your particular application, for the investment that you're making. And again, the objective is to get you a cylinder head that's going to run on your race car, 7,000 RPM for several thousand laps, and be competitive. Now, performance prep heads could be competitive if you do something like the SST porting or undercover work. You'll be able to run in the top 2 or 3 at any racetrack you go to in the country, and that's really the objective with our cylinder heads. In the next video, we're going to talk about the next step, which is going to be the valve guide prep. All of the cylinder heads, or 95% of them, get guide work done to them, bronze guides or guide liners, and we'll go through the reasons and the steps that we do in that stage of the modifications.